event is Colby Covington, Tyron Woodley. This is a grudge match. These two, it really sucks that we're not getting this fight whenever it should have happened. I mean, this fight should have happened probably 3 times before. I mean, off the top of my head, it should happen at 223, not 223, 228. Darren Till stepped in for Colby. And then at 235, Usman stepped in for Colby, which what a weird thing to think about, that we could have gotten this fight so many other times. But instead, now we're getting it a little bit less stakes. I mean, both these guys, instead of being for a title, it's happening in an empty arena where both of them have come off losses, including Woodley, who's come off of 2 really, really bad losses. He's lost 10 straight rounds. But, if there's a single fight that can get Tyron Woodley going, it's against Colby Covington. These two have hated each other for years. A lot of the time, Colby's beefs tend to be, they're not really real beefs. He's playing a character, But him and Woodley actually have legit beef. I know they've known each other. They trained together. They've known each other for a very long time. And if there's anybody who's able to get under Tyron Woodley's skin, it is absolutely Colby Covington. Obviously, Covington's coming off a loss to Kamaru Usman, but outside of that, I mean, beat Lawler, Dos Anjos, Maya, Dong Haeyeon Kim, Brian Barberena, Mike Pyle. He's had so many wins on his record that are just phenomenal. And Woodley, the former UFC champ, obviously lost 2 in a row before that. He was on pace to be one of the greatest welterweights ever. You could make a damn good case that he is number 2 behind GSP. I would not agree with that, but you can make the case. I mean, Darren Till, Stephen Thompson, Damian Maya, Robbie Lawler, Kelvin Gastelum, Dong Haeyeon, Koscheck, Jordan Meehan, Paul Daly. Keeps on going. And I feel like a lot of people forget that. That being said, 2 very bad losses in a row. Colby Covington is the heavy favorite. I'll throw it right to you. Do you think he should be as big of a favorite as he is, and do you have him winning on Saturday night?
I mean, it's no surprise right after the recent Woodley performances we've been getting, but I always try to have faith, in the champions and whether or not they're older, right? Because it's like they've been there, they know it. There's a reason they were the best in the world at one point, right? But granted, Woodley has looked really, really bad, the last couple of times, Granted, it's only 2, right? And it's the Burns who's not challenging, right? And then Kamaru who won the title. But before that, he was, well, he was on top. He was the top of the world. He was killing it. He was beating all those names you just named off, and he was killing it. I mean, there was nothing that could stop him at that point. Until not too long ago, then the Kamaru pulled up, and now Burns, and it. I think this should be a closer fight than what we think, but if history serves us right, and the way he has looked the last 2 fights continues to be the same, we should have Colby come out on top. Now, if there's some sort of change in himself or something has occurred within him, I feel like Woodley could maybe turn it around here and be Colby and maybe have some sort of resurgence again. Not saying he's out, because he's definitely he's right up there. I mean, he's losing to the 2 guys who are on top of the world winning right now. And if he lost to Colby here, he'd be losing to the guy who just fought Kamaru not too long ago for the title and gave him a banger of a fight, So in my opinion, no matter what, maybe Colby shouldn't be as heavy as a favorite as he is, but I can see why it might be going that way. I am going to take Colby just because of how Tyron's looked his last 2 fights. Not to, and I'm just saying that because of the way they've looked. Something could change here, though. I wouldn't have an issue with being absolutely incorrect, and that could very possibly, that could very well happen here. But we'll have to see how it goes. Let's see how it plays out Saturday night.
I mean, listen, I really want to believe, man. I really want to believe that Woodley's going to come out and he's going to look like the Woodley of 2016. The time of I mean, Woodley's always been a hesitant fighter, but never to the degree of his last few fights. It's just it's kind of, I mean, obviously it's 2 fights, right? But he looks like the most washed I've seen a champion right after losing their belt. I mean, he doesn't pull the trigger, and for a lot of fighters, that's the first sign that you see of maybe they should retire because they don't pull the trigger anymore. They don't throw. They're scared of getting hit, or maybe there's something that fire's gone, and they just don't throw. And Woodley's always been a hesitant guy, but I think to a certain extent, it's getting really really bad of him not throwing. I'm gonna take Colby here. I think he should be a massive favorite. Like, I think that like even if this fight took place in like 2016, I might give Colby the edge. Probably not. I think his striking's improved significantly since then. But he's really, we just got some breaking news which we're about to talk about, which is huge later on. Angel sent me the tweet, which I'm hyped for this man. But yeah, man, I'm gonna take Covington here. Moving on to the co-main event. Listen, this is about as good as a fight we're ever gonna get in the UFC. I think this has potential for fight of the year, or maybe just an amazing finish. Cowboy Cerrone, one of the all-time leader in wins, finishes, performance bonuses. I don't think he's actually performance bonuses, but he's up there. He's been a part of so many amazing fights over the years, taking on our boy, friend of the podcast. I can say that because he follows me on Twitter, about as good as it's going to get. Nico Price. Obviously, Nico Price is the most entertaining non-ranked fighter in the UFC. I don't think he's ever been ranked, but the dude is just so fucking fun to watch. He's never gone to a decision. And his fight earlier this year against Vicente Luque, which was on the first UFC card back in May after COVID began, probably one of my favorite fights of the year. That was a banger, and people forget it because it was on the early prelims. But goddamn, that fight was fun. But this one, honestly, for me, is a bit of a toss-up. This is probably the best person, if maybe not the best person exactly, but the most accomplished person Nico Price has faced to date. Who do you got in the co-main event?
It's crazy as it sounds. I think this is a hard one to call.
Absolutely.
When we're talking. At this point in Cowboys' career, kind of the way things are going, and Nico is, not exceptionally great, but definitely, not a bad fighter, because obviously he's made it to UFC, he's fought against, pretty good opponents, maybe hasn't, come out on top. But as far as a fun fight, you're not wrong. This is a really fun fight for Cowboy, and I think we came up with ideas earlier this year, and we threw some stuff out there, and I'm happy they came up with this because I never would have thought about this, and it just works well. As far as my decision, I don't know. I want to pick Cowboy, just because we want to see as much as it would be better for Nico to come out and win here and succeed and get a big win over Cowboy, and that would look really good on his resume. Cowboy still has it in him where he can season anybody up, man. He'll piece someone up even at his age now. He showed it, what was it, a year ago now, when he was, maybe these last 2 years when he was, kind of building his way up and kind of found a success where he's fighting all these top guys, late into his career. So maybe that's why I want to pick Cowboy, because Cowboy just put on a performance for us this last year. Just taking like everybody on, man. Like you can even date it back to it doesn't stop, man. High level after high level fight. It probably since 2017. That's when it carries on till 2020. Hasn't stopped. And maybe now with Nico, it's kind of the first, not the highest level, but a guy who will put on a show, and I'm sure will bring it to Cowboy and make it difficult for him.
Yeah, I'm super torn on this one, and it's such a hard fight to pick, man. Because you got Nico on one hand, who's an amazingly fun fighter, and he's beaten some good names. He has, some decent names on his record. He's lost to the biggest people in his career, but, Randy Brown's a good win, George Sullivan, Bond's a good win, Brandon Thatch, James Vick. He has, he's a really, really fun fighter, and he has some good wins, but generally speaking, Cowboy is the accomplished guy here. It'd be easier to pick Cowboy. But I think I'm gonna go Nico Price. And I think I'm going to go Nico for no other reason. This is really, really stupid. No other reason than the fact that he alternates wins and losses. There's just stuff he does. His last, ever since 2018, he knocked out Randy Brown, and then he lost to Abdul Hazak El Hassan. He beat Tim Means, and then he lost to Jeff Neal. He beat James Vick, and he lost to Vincente Luque earlier this year. And I thought he looked arguably the best he's ever looked. He was winning that fight until the third round, whenever he got stopped by the doctor. So I'm going to take Nico Price here for, I think, an upset. I don't know if he's the favorite, but I'm going to say it's an upset. So fuck it.
Okay. And then, I don't know if I said my pick or not, but I'll clear it up. Cowboy. I'm going to go with Cowboy.
All right, fair enough. So we are finally split on a fight for the first time in a while. Moving on. Listen, this is not, we only pick the main and the co-mains, but dude, Kazmat Chimaev is back, and he's taking on Gerald Meerschaert. I'm not gonna ask for your pick, but I will ask this. He's obviously such a highly rated prospect. But do you think that booking him, because he's double booked at the moment. People don't know this. He's supposed to fight Damian Maia on Fight Island in a month. He's double booked right now. Do you think it's like a smart idea or a bad idea to have double booked fighting Gerald Meerschaert and then Damian Maia? Is that a smart decision for his career?
This is a double-edged sword. This could either be the most 200 IQ play by the UFC and Chimaev, because it's like he's getting right in there. He's building his way up real quick. I think that's the best way to describe it. This could be like the biggest double-edged sword ever. Because it could work so well. It works so well, but it could definitely be the worst mistake the UFC's done when it comes to a young prospect.
Yeah, I mean, he's such a highly rated prospect. He is the most hype I've seen of anybody in a long time. I mean, him on Fight Island, he's here to smash and all that, and he fought in back-to-back weeks and all that. So the dude is such a highly rated prospect. I don't know if he gets past Gerald Meerschaert though. I think it's a tough fight for him. I think Gerald's he's kind of a dark horse for anybody in the division. If you beat him, you're probably a top 15 guy. If you're not beating him, then you're probably not going to go any past. He has stopped hype trains before. Jevin Giles and Deron Wynn were both on nice winning streaks before he faced him. So we'll see what happens there. Is there anything else on the undercard you want to talk about?
Nothing. Well, our boy Johnny Walker's back, man. Johnny Walker versus Ryan Spann. Man, yeah. Ryan Spann building his way up quickly, isn't he?
Yeah, you know what, man? Everybody's talking about Johnny Walker heading into that fight. I see a very reasonable chance in Ryan Spann getting the win. I think Johnny Walker's the favorite. He's the story. But bro, and I get it. Johnny Walker, he's an exciting guy. I mean, he's lost 2 in a row. But the Krylov fight, most people don't even know that it happened because it happened on the week that COVID entered the United States and everything was getting shut down, so nobody gave a shit. And then he lost to Corey Anderson, which no shame in that. But Ryan Spann has been consistently winning for a while now. He's won like 7 fights in a row, beat Sam Alvey, Devin Clark, Little Nog. He's got some wins on there, man. Don't be surprised if Ryan Spann, upsets Johnny Walker this weekend.